So I found this Xbox light online made by Peloton, whatever. It's a cool icons light that you can put in your game room and has a few different lighting modes too. Pretty neat, right?
But why isn't it green? Like this.
Search the Xbox logo on Google, it's green. The original, green. Xbox 360, green. Type in Xbox One logo, it's green. So we need to fix this because a bright white light in our gaming room just isn't gonna do. Yeah, it looks okay, but let's make it better. Like this. Shall we? Let's get this thing unboxed. Pretty good packaging, comes with a USB cable if you want to power it directly, or you can pop in 3 AAA batteries too. Got the light and some instructions that I'm sure I'm going to read. Wait, what does that say? Changes or modifications to this unit not expressly approved by the party responsible for compliance could void the user's authority to operate the equipment. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Moving on. We have 5 screws that you can see on the bottom, but I'm willing to bet there are 4 more hidden underneath each of these pads on the corners. Yep. I don't want to damage these pads, so I'll peel them away carefully. The wiring is really tight on some of these runs, so I'm going to remove it since A, I don't want to damage any of them, and B, it's in the way of removing the letters on the bottom anyway. The mini circuit boards also have a few more screws in them and have labels to where each letter attaches. That's pretty handy, but I'm going to desolder all these too, just so we have as much space to work with inside as possible. I'm only going to be changing the color of the Xbox letters and not the giant Xbox logo. This just makes more sense to me and I think it looks better. But if you'd like to change the color on all of them instead, you're welcome to. It's your light. Now the next big question is whether or not I will damage any of the letters during removal. It looks like a few of the spots are glued in, so let's hope that that doesn't cause any problems. Spoiler alert, it does. I have a pair of jewelry pliers that have flat jaws instead of the ones with the teeth built in. I'm hoping with using these it'll cause less damage to any of the plastic parts. But this is just a really simple locking design that with some pressure, each of the letters pop right out. But this is the part that I'm really worried about. Removing the backs of the letters. The X has 2 small holes in the bottom to be able to pry into, but I don't want to damage it, so I can't gank on it too much. I'm just going to go slow and add a bit of pressure to see if I can get these to pop away from the white housing. Using a spudger once you have a spot that is loose is invaluable in this situation. I highly recommend getting one. I don't know how this is attached inside the letter yet, and that's why I'm going really slow for this first one. The rear black plastic is a bit more flexible, which really helps, but it looks like these have been glued in place now that I have a majority of it popped up. And voila! Inside seems to be a simple design as well. Just a few LEDs on a board with some wires attached for power. By the way, if you have a small coin battery or even a 9-volt, you can test these lights easily, which will be very helpful in the next few steps. How are we going to be making white LEDs green, you say? A green Sharpie. I'm not saying it's a perfect solution, but it will still look good when we're done. I'm sure there are a bunch of other ways to do it, but I figured this is the most accessible for everybody. Also, you want a really juicy marker for this too. Then spread all that juicy color on each of the LEDs and let it dry. This is what it looks like with one coat of the marker. It looks a little blue at this stage, maybe even a little teal color, but just keep layering your color on. Dab it, let it dry, repeat until each LED is looking really dark. Then just test it with your battery to see if it's the right color. It took about 3 coats for me to get to the color that I liked that looked green enough for me. Then use the same process to finish out the rest of the letters. This second X had a lot more glue on the studs and got a little damaged when I was pulling it out. This isn't too bad since I can always glue it back in place, but I really didn't see a need to at this point. The B though. It was a B to disassemble, if you know what I mean. This letter had a lot more glue on the backing for some reason and was really tough to pop apart. I even bent my little screwdriver a bit because of it. So be aware not every letter has an equal amount of glue. But since that ordeal is done, I ran through and colored up the other LEDs, testing each when I was done to make sure the color looked right to me. And once it did, I pushed on to the reassembly. I didn't glue these back together just in case I need to take the letters apart again. Soldering the wires back in place was a breeze too. With the board being labeled for each light, it made it really easy to attach the wires in the right locations again. Once I had all the screws in place to hold the housing together again, it was time to see how the final product turned out. It's finally green, as it should have been in the beginning. As I said before, this isn't a perfect solution, and that B is still giving me some problems that I'll have to fix later. But I'm still happy how it turned out. It's actually green, and it looks like what I would imagine an Xbox logo light would look like. But I'm curious to know what you think. Should I have left it white? Do you like it green? Should I have used a different coloring method? Leave a comment down below to let me know what you think. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of content, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.